Good morning. Hello, hello. Margaret Lloyd here with Eternal Shift New Life. I'm going to do a little something different today that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to read you my my story. Um, it's my victim impact statement of how I got where I am now. Okay, I know because I want you all to understand why I talk so much about narcissism because it affected my life for so long. And I don't want it to affect anybody else's life. So I'm going to read this once I get it in a readable format because right now it isn't. Okay. Okay, so here we go. And like I said, this was my life for for almost 40 years. So I'd been married and divorced before, and I'm not going to use names. We had a daughter. Snickers, what are you whining about? No need to whine, no need to cry. Mommy's right here. I will use initials. MH and I met June 6th, 1985, as he was moving in next door to me. I invited him to a party at a friend's, and we had a great time. Everyone liked him, or at least they didn't say anything negative about him to me. We lived next to each other for about 6 months, during which time my daughter was introduced to MH. I met MH's son during one of his weekend visits. K was the child of M and A previous marriage. One morning, MH knocked at my door asking if I had coffee because he did not have time to fix his. After that, a relationship was developing, and I would have coffee ready for him in the morning, pour it through his bedroom window into a thermos. During this time, my car needed repairs and the cost was more than I could afford. MH bought me a nice new Toyota Celica. We continued to date. July of 85, he asked me to marry him and he moved into my 2-bedroom apartment. As we were getting things ready for the wedding, Em and I both decided there would never be any extramarital sex outside of our marriage. We had both been cheated on in the past. We married November 26th of 86. I worked at Norman Pediatrics as an office manager. My mother had just moved back from California, and I had a great social network of friends and church as well as family. M got a promotion with a move to Minnesota. We discussed the move as to what needed to be done regarding my daughter's custody and visitation. Em and I talked with Junior about the move. We decided that T would stay with Junior during the current school year and we would pick her up in June when we picked up K. My daughter T stayed with her father until summer. Then she came to live with us. October 88, our first child, B, was born. We were now a happy yours, mine, and our family. Or so I thought. Things were good after B was born. Things started going south in little bits after he turned 3 years old, when we went to Norman, Oklahoma, to drop T off to Junior and pick K up from Andrea. On the trip from Wilmer to Norman, we stayed the night in St. Louis. B and T had their own room, and Martin and I were in the connecting room. We got the kids to bed and went back to our room, had a few beers. We started getting frisky. M wanted oral sex, so I got on the floor with a towel because the hotel had flooded and the floor was damp. When I was done, there was a big wet spot on the towel, and M later commented that maybe I should do that for a living because it was so good, and look at the spot on the floor. He thought I came too. I tried to explain to him that it was because of the wet floor, but he could not accept that, and must have kept that in his mind because it came up later in life. M received another promotion and we were moving to Detroit, Michigan. While we were house hunting, we stayed with M's parents, an older brother, and 2 boys. One day while I was coming back to the house, I saw my son at the bottom of the basement floor crying. I asked what was wrong, and he told me that Brian, B, and D, one was choking him while one was going to pee on him. My son was greatly traumatized by this, and it still bothers him. The family had a discussion about what happened. Unfortunately, the parents of the boys were narcissists, and I was told that I was the problem because I was not there. If I'd known, oh God, I wish I'd known back then what a narcissist was. I didn't realize that's what they were. I just thought they were assholes. But no, they were actually narcissists, and so is my husband, but I didn't realize it at the time. Being told that I was at fault for this made me very nervous and anxious, and made me think I was less of a parent than I thought I was. Maybe I was doing things wrong. Martin started working in Detroit. While the family was living in Royal Oak, when we were there, I worked at Consumer Pulse after B started kindergarten in '93. I remember one night that I was late getting home from work party, and the front door was locked, both the storm and front door. I couldn't get in the house. I went to the back door, and it too was locked. Nobody had a key to the storm door. I could see in the windows and see my family. Kids were sitting at the table looking scared. B and T were crying. I was freezing and couldn't get in the house. He finally let me in, chewed me out for not calling to let him know I was going to be late. I apologized. After a few days, we made up, but during that time, he didn't talk to me. I remember one time that I was at YMCA working out and went to daycare to pick up B, and the attendant made a statement that my son was a retarded child. I advised her he was only 4 years old. I talked to M about this, thinking we need to cut out some snacks so he can get his weight down. But M said not to worry about it because he will grow out of it. But he had a vision that B was a beast, T was the beauty, K was the brain. M was never worried about B's size. He was happy that he was above the percentiles on everything. This was one of many arguments in the past that ended the same, that he was right and I was wrong. In February 94, M received another promotion to Washington, D.C. We had to move in March. We moved to Virginia. The kids were upset because they had to leave their friends in Royal Oak, Michigan in the middle of a school year. We moved to Fairfax, Virginia, where after 1 week of school, B's school called me and told me to come pick him up because he was crying because some boys were picking on him. I picked him up, and after talking to B, I found out that the boys were picking on him because he was overweight. I asked B if teachers were near, and he said yes, and they did nothing when they were pushing him, and he got in trouble for hitting a red-headed step brat. Then a week later, the school called and told me B was too young to be in school because his birthday was 5 days after their cutoff date. I called Senator Robb, and he made sure B stayed in school. I worked nights while in Detroit and Fairfax so that someone would be home to watch B when he got home from school. I felt like working was my only avenue for social contact. M is now focused on his career and was traveling all the time with work, which led to another promotion. T was upset that we were having to move again, as she was just now thinking about colleges. Sometime in the middle of the night, she snuck out of the house. She'd packed a bag. I knew where she went, to the Holiday Inn. We drove there and talked to T and obtained her credit card that Martin M had co-signed. She had to pay for her hotel room out of her own money from her job if she was leaving the family. We moved back to Detroit area in 95 to Rochester Hills. I worked as Staples as assistant manager. I was able to work days while kids were in school. That Christmas, T and Tammy came to visit. Tammy came as protection for T, as T was afraid to be around M. What? You're not going anywhere. Bring me your toy. She would not tell me why, but that she did not want to be around him by herself. I told her, okay, no problem. M started developing erectile dysfunction. Give mommy the ball. Leave it, leave it, leave it. We tried different things, like role playing, like I was a working girl coming to visit a client. That worked for a short while until he learned how to contact people online who were into extramarital crap. One night, he got me so drunk and took me over to a guy's house where he wanted me to give oral sex to the guy while M took me from behind. We had talked about doing a threesome, but I told him no. He kept pouring me drinks until I was so drunk he had to walk me to the car to go to this guy's house. I don't remember much after that. I do remember getting to his house on my knees with him in my mouth, M behind me, telling me to take it deeper. The next thing I remember, I was vomiting in the car. I was so embarrassed that I did that. That wasn't me. I didn't want any of that. Ugh. He kept on year after year to do more. I got to where I hated the internet because that's where he kept finding guys. Now let's see if mommy can get it. Move, Snickers. Move. Move it. Move it. Silly girl. She is so silly. I got to where I hated the internet because that's where he kept finding these men that would abuse me. We were having some financial issues with paying bills. I would be on the phone with creditors and he would be yelling at me what to tell them. I was not allowed to use my own words, my own brain, my own thoughts, my own ideas. I had to say what he said. I would tell him if he would just talk to them, he could tell them what he needed. He would always make me anxious when I got on the phone with creditors because he would be yelling what to say every time. He said he was doing this because he wanted me to learn how to talk to people. I would say, well, yelling at me while on the phone is the right thing to do? No. Yelling at me while I was on the phone does not help me, but makes me nervous. Making me nervous while on the phone then trickles down to how I treat my children, how I deal with people at work, making me less able to deal with things in a calm manner. I got to where, when there was a disagreement with anyone, I would turn it into a yelling contest. I don't like yelling. Martin received Martin, I'll just say his name. Fuck it. Who cares, really? Received another promotion that was moving us to Iowa in the summer of '96. And this is one thing that our children hated. We never stayed there long enough for any of them to complete a school term. And I mean, like if you're in elementary school, you go through grade 5, in middle school 6 through 9 or whatever. They had never been able to stay in one school long enough to complete their history. I started working at Urbandale High School kitchen so that I could work while B and K were in school. I loved my job, but after a while, my boss and I started having issues getting along. Well, good catch, girl. I believe this was because of the abuse I was receiving at home. When we lived in Iowa, he would get guys to come over and pay me for sex. I was so embarrassed because I didn't want this. It made me feel dirty. I had friends, but I didn't feel like I could talk to them about this. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing to talk to my girlfriends about because it was not the right thing to be happening to me. Should not be happening to me. I worried about being out in public and somebody might see me and say something. The money that I was making by fucking these guys was not going to me. It was going right back into the pot. Went to groceries. I remember a visit Tara and T&J made for Thanksgiving. T and I went shopping for Black Friday and had a great time. Since we had not done that in a long while, I asked Tara why she didn't visit me more often. Her response was that she didn't like being around Martin. I tried to get her to elaborate without making her mad. She just kept saying she didn't like being around him and wouldn't explain why. B was in the 5th grade, weighing close to 200 pounds, and needed to pass the president's physical fitness test. I was taking B up to the high school track to run the mile. One day it was a rainy day and we decided to have him run the treadmill for a mile. Martin would beat Bo while running on the treadmill to make him, thinking it would make him run faster. I thought Martin was going to kill him. I tried to stop him. I told him to stop, but I didn't physically stop him. But I should have. I should have grabbed the belt from him and beat him with it. But I was in a state of paralysis because of the duress I was under due to the abuse. Later that year, B was also accepted in middle school band to play the trombone, but Martin got upset that B wanted to play an instrument instead of football. Even though Martin played in a band in school and enjoyed it. I told Martin that Kay plays the tuba in football. Why can't B? Martin said, B is the beast. No, because if he does, then all footballs, baseballs, basketball, and stuff would be gone. And so would the friends, because Martin would not allow B out of the house. He would see them in school, but not at home. B has to play football, or we will move out into the country so B could grow up the way Martin wanted. B played football through college, hated it the whole time, and was so happy when he quit because of knee problems. But Martin wanted both boys to work hard enough in football to gain scholarships in football and play for Division I teams, then on to the pros. He envisioned his boys, both of them, to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Kay would be the quarterback and B would be the center, and they would play on in infamy. This was not at all the dream of our sons. They both had other ideas. Where's your ball? Did you hide the ball? Or you want, I see the ball. I see the ball. You had it right under my feet. The verbal and emotional abuse the kids received was terrible. Keith felt so bad. He at such a young age, to start hating his father. He tried so hard to be what his father wanted. Keith, who was Martin's oldest son from a previous marriage, decided he would go live with his mother so he didn't have to be around the abuse anymore. Martin was constantly threatening me. If I didn't do what he wanted me to do, he would take the children away. Tara was already gone, but the boys were still with me. And especially Bo. I did not want to lose him. So I stayed with him. I did what he wanted me to do. I fucked guys. I got paid for some, not for all. but I did it. I was forced to have sex with other men because he couldn't perform. And he would take pictures. I tried to stop many times. Just a second, I need to check on her. She's into something. Okay, I'm back. In 2003, Martin received another promotion back to Washington, D.C. I thought maybe we can get past all this. Maybe we can stop all this sex nonsense. But because in my mind, as in our wedding vows, in sickness and in health, if his penis didn't work, then my vagina was sick as well. Well, they just won't work. Well, and at that point, my vagina did get sick because I wound up with herpes, genital herpes. Yeah. That fun, itchy, yeah, uncomfortable, yeah. Yeah, I got that. Didn't like it. Still don't like it. I will have to take medication for it for the rest of my life to keep it away. And the last thing I want to do, because somebody gave it to me and didn't tell me they had it, so the last thing I want to do is do the same. But my husband said, well, somebody gave it to you without telling you. You can give it to somebody without telling them. Is that right? Is that the right thing to do? But that's what he turned me into. I know it's not the right thing to do. I wish I knew every one of their names. I could then write them and say, hey, if you wind up with genital herpes, my fault. So sorry. But I didn't. I just wanted us to be happy together as husband and wife. And be happy where we were. Love each other. But it didn't work like that. And it just kept on and kept on and kept on. We then decided, after 7 years, Martin did tell me at one time that I could stop when I retired from my job. Well, that didn't happen because I retired from my job and we moved down to Texas to retire and to take care of Mom. Well, guess what? It got even worse. It got even worse. He then decides to put me on TV, on the internet. You can go to Strip Chat, look up Hot Granny Peg. That was me, and not who I want to be. So that went on for 7 years. And then one day, in May of 22, we got into an argument in the kitchen. Mom was eating her breakfast. Martin got mad at me because I didn't want anybody to come over. Just a minute. You got it stuck under my wheels. There we go. Oh, silly girl. Martin got mad at me for not wanting guys to come over and slapped me. That was the first time he had ever hit me. He may have yelled at me verbally, thrown things at the wall, thrown things in the air, whatever. But he never struck me. Never. I told him if he ever did, that would be it. I told him if he ever hit me again, ever, that I would divorce him in a heartbeat. And he believed me. At the time, he believed me. Well, so from May until October, we'd been talking about maybe splitting up because I had it. I didn't want to do it anymore. And we were writing things down, making, plans for the divorce. But on October the 8th, the day of the OU Texas game, we'd been outside cleaning the fence to get ready to stain. Got into a big argument outside. Neighbors were all out and heard this. Heard him yelling at me. We finally finished our work, went inside, got cleaned up for lunch. I was going to fix a sandwich. Martin asked for a glass of grape juice. I poured him a glass. He yelled that he just wanted a small glass. I told him to drink what he wanted. I would finish what was left. Was fixing him a sandwich. He came into the kitchen, knocked everything off the counter onto the floor, told me I was too stupid to make a sandwich. Get out of the fucking way. I did move, and the next thing I know, he's slapping me across the face, knocking my glasses to the floor. I grabbed my cell phone and started dialing 911. He hit my left hand, knocked my phone to the floor, breaking my hand and the phone. Next thing I remember, his hands are around my neck, and Martin is saying, I'm going to kill you. I can kill you. I will kill you. At the top of his lungs, I thought I was dying because I saw my life flash before my eyes. My mother yelled, stop acting like children before someone gets hurt. The next thing I know, I hit the floor. When he let go, I'd peed my pants because I passed out. I jumped up, grabbed my phone and glasses, ran to my bathroom to change clothes, but he followed me. I jumped on the bed and ran to my mother's room and closed the door. I knew he would not come in. He knocked on the door saying, if the police show up, we're done. I told him, when you slapped me, we were done. I called the police. They came, arrested him, took my clothes, took my statement. My mother and I went to the hospital. X-ray, CT, lab tests were all done. My left hand was broken and had to be put into a cast. While at the hospital, I kept getting calls from Denton County Jail to bail Martin out. I ignored the calls. I did take one call from the jailer. I told him no. He can rot in jail. Mom and I left the hospital at 9 p.m. We stopped to get something for dinner and went home to chill out and try to calm down. I was still so up over what had happened during the day. It broke my heart. I never in a million years thought he would do that to me. But he did. At 11 p.m., I get a call from county jail, called to let me know that he'd bailed out and had been released. I went in my bedroom and got my gun. I decided that I would sleep in the living room because if he did, because I had a feeling he'd come to the house to get some things. I decided to sleep in the living room with my gun. And he did. Around midnight, someone's messing at the front door. And I yell, "If that door opens, you will be shot." He stopped and asked for clothing, wallet, and glasses. I told him to get off the property and I would get them for him. I should have called the police, but being the kind person that I am, I went and got his clothes and looked through the peephole. He was in the street. I opened the door with gun in hand and threw his things out to the driveway and told him to never come back. I saw him leave in a car. I slept in the chair all night long because I knew he could get into the house without me hearing him if I slept in the bedroom. The next day I had the locks changed on the door. Following Monday, I went to the attorney's office, started divorce proceedings. Later that day, I had to go to Best Buy to see if my phone was still usable. It was not. I had to replace my phone at the cost of $500. I tried to get reimbursed from the state for victims of abuse and only got $100 for my clothing and phone damage. Next day, I received a text from Martin wanting clothing to go see an attorney. I got a black trash bag and put his suits and shirts in it, put it by the garage door and told him to come get it within 2 hours or they would be in the trash. Later that day, I saw my neighbor outside who said she saw him pick up the bag in an Uber. He kept emailing me wanting to get back together, which maybe 5 times, which I ignored. And the last was about seeing a counselor. I said, "Ha ha ha ha," laughed my ass off, rolling on the floor. I told Martin seeing a counselor at this time was not going to happen. He'd already stepped over the limits, tried to kill me, was not going to happen. We were not going to be back together. Martin said he would make the house payments, I would have to do the utilities. I looked at our accounts. Our savings account had been closed. Part of the savings was money my mother gave him to save for her. That equaled close to $10,000. That was gone. Checking account had some money in it to keep us covered with my Social Security check and mother's. I knew I could make the utility payments. Almost all credit cards were in Martin's name, so I didn't worry. I paid mine, and that was all I needed to do. I took care of myself. I decided I could not stay in Texas because there was too much bad history. I got married in Texas. I got almost killed in Texas. I got divorced in Texas. I needed to leave Texas. I went back to Oklahoma. I had no support in Texas. My son was in Colorado. My daughter was in Indiana. And my other son was overseas. I was talking to people on Facebook and fell victim to scams, which led to having to close bank accounts. I felt so used and confused, being scammed and still dealing with my husband trying to kill me. I didn't have any family other than my mother close by. I was so scared to even go to the grocery store for fear of somebody recognizing me from strip chat days. And it happened. I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed. I felt like I was drowning. Bo finally came back into my life. I'm finally doing better. I still have a ways to go, but I'm doing better. I'm not getting scammed. I've lost 90 pounds, cut my hair. What Martin did to me and my children has scared not only me, but my children. My son, B, is still working through his issues. K has worked through his, and he's half a world away from us. My daughter still has issues that she cannot talk to me about. I mean, what he did to her, I can only imagine. And I don't want to imagine, if you understand what I mean. What he could have done to her that would have made her so, to hate somebody so bad, so much. My mother had so much anxiety over this. But thank God she's gone to a better place. She has finally passed at age 97. I'm still seeing psychiatrists. It's helping, but I still have a lot of room. I'm studying Buddhism. It helps a lot. Buddhism is helping a whole lot better than my psychiatrist is helping me. So, who needs them? Buddhism doesn't cost me anything. The psychiatrist does. So, Bo has helped me a lot. Unfortunately, he has a lot of tendencies of his father, but that's okay. I'm learning to work around them or deal with them because I love my son very much and I don't want to do anything to harm him or hurt him, make him not want to be around me. So I'm working very hard to get myself back to being the happy person that I used to be. I used to be a very happy, confident person. My confidence is lacking. I don't know if it's because I'm not around people. I don't know. I have no friends here. I'll put it this way. I have friends here, people that I know, and we're friends, but they ignore me. I don't know why. I know I turned into a bad person, but give me a chance to get through it. Ignoring me doesn't help. I don't think they realize I need their help. If I can be around good people, the bad stuff will go away. But I can't be around good people because they ignore me. So maybe they aren't good people. Good people wouldn't ignore people that need help. They wouldn't. With that said, I hope you all have a beautiful day. Peace, love. Take care of yourselves. Because remember, nobody else will. Nobody else will take care of you the way you take care of yourself. Like I said, there are people in Norman that I know, but they ignore me. Don't ignore people that need help. If you know someone that needs help and kindness, please, please, and do this every morning. Be grateful for a new day. Embrace impermanence. Cultivate compassion for yourself and others. See, that's what's lacking in this world, compassion. Walk a path of wisdom and be at peace with yourself. Peace out. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Super thanks are always appreciated.